How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTCReaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading with the price is going up or down. So over on Dixie for the daily, it does look like we could continue forward depending on if we can break this range. MPP does state there's a high probability that we do reject in this range, so I would exercise caution and watch that that VWAP very close. That VWAP needs to push off that neutral and make a higher low to continue with this higher high and continue to push momentum and money flow higher to give price action the momentum it would need to continue forward. So over on the 1 hour, it does look like our probability is very indecisive. It says we could go up or we could go down based on here. It says we could go up, but that's depending on if we don't make a lower low. If we don't make a lower low at that 106 as we pull back here, then we could push up and fill that 107. But if we see a lower low, then we will revisit the lower end of that 106 range. So Stochastic does want to pull back. VWAP is pushing down. Momentum is rounding with a red dot. So if that VWAP breaks down, that is a shorter wave and we will have bearish favor. That could bring momentum lower, causing money flow to sell off and weakening those higher time frames. So we could see Dixie give up some gains. That would be positive for crypto because remember, usually they are inversely related. So if crypto goes up, usually Dixie is going down. Over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, it does look like we have a higher high here. We did get a green candle above the value area high. That is positive to push Bitcoin dominance higher, but Bitcoin really didn't gain. It is pretty flat for the day. Total loss, that's the only reason we're seeing dominance go up. But if we continue to see dominance stay above this value area high, then it's going to be hard to gain alt season. So Stochastic does want to round. Momentum is pushing up. That VWAP is bullish with consistent highs and bullish favor. So that is positive. Just watch as it's kind of going stagnant and we're not getting very strong momentum here. We need that VWAP to push forward stronger if we're going to see dominance give more strength. Otherwise, we are pretty new to being above the value area high, and I would still watch for a red candle. If we get a red candle tomorrow, that would be a rejection. However, this is trying to give us confirmation of a push forward, depending on lower time frames. So watch this 1 hour. Over on the 1 hour, we are above our value area low for this time frame. Bar MPP does say there is a probability we do end up making a rejection. It does say that could be a higher low though, so that would be positive because a higher low here would create a bullish trend as we would get higher highs and higher lows and they would not connect, so we would not have a rising channel to bring us down later. That would be positive to continue to push dominance higher and we would see altcoins not gain as much as Bitcoin. So over on total for the daily, we do still have that probability of that 156. RSI is pulling back. Momentum does want around. Stochastic is pushing down and the VWAP is in bearish territory. I would watch that VWAP. Remember, if it continues to push down here, we will see momentum break down, money flow will weaken, and price action will follow. So watch the 1 hour. If this 1 hour rejects the top of this channel, we could still pull back. There is a 50% chance we push up and retest, but again, we need to break that and hold. If we see a rejection there, we are going to see further price action drop us down. That could be several days from now, so I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow. Don't take everything I'm saying as it's happening tomorrow. You gotta kind of look at how far away things are happening, how long things are taking to kind of happen. Some moves, they're going to happen right away. Other moves, they're not. Don't bet on every move happening right away, though. Our RSI is pulling back, Stochastic is selling off. VWAP does have bearish favor with lower lows and lower highs, so we are rejecting and staying below that neutral. If that continues, momentum and money flow will fall, and we will likely pull back to the 103 like our MPP says we could. So if we don't make a bounce where we are right now, solidifying a higher low, it's likely we could still slide away, and if we're not careful, remember that 936 would be our next support area. So over on Bitcoin futures for the daily, our MPP does say that we could end up breaking away. There is a 77% chance to about 80k, and there's a lower chance to about 24k. That would be quite the drop, but that is filling a previous gap we had. RSI is starting to round away. Momentum wants to round with a red dot. Stochastic is pushing up, and our VWAP is pulling back. So I would exercise caution, and money flow does look like it is starting to pull away. So I would watch if we fill this gap. If we don't hold around this 100k gap, then we could start filling those lower gaps. So just because our MPP says we could pull back doesn't mean that's going to be over the next few days. We're not saying that. We're saying there is a chance that this run is not sustainable, so you probably want to be taking profits. Over on Bitcoin futures for the 1 hour, we do want to make a push forward. So if we can make a higher low here, we could continue for a higher high. But there's only a 26% chance of that happening. The higher chance is making a lower high. If we see a lower high followed by a lower low, we will create a bearish channel that could break us down if the highs and lows don't connect. If they connect, that's a descending channel that can push you up. If they don't connect, that's a bearish continuation that's going to break us down and retest those lower areas. RSI is starting to pull back, momentum is dropping down, and that VWAP is favoring bearish, so that's a little concerning. If that VWAP does not reverse, momentum will continue lower and money flow will break down. Over on Bitcoin, our MPP doesn't look so good here on the 1 hour. Actually, it was on the 1 day, sorry, I stand corrected, but over on the 1 day, it does show we could make a drop all the way down to our second buy-in zone. So that zone that we've been eyeballing for a couple weeks is still in play. It does show that we are a little under that. We are at Fibonacci level, so maybe you want to consider pulling this up, modifying your order. Thank you for giving me information I don't need, and then we can move out that date, click buy. That way we have a little more time, because like I said, it's not going to happen tomorrow, and if it does, that's going to be a very strong red candle, and a very strong red candle would be retraced, so that would be positive for us in the long term, because that would end up making us pull back just to bounce back forward. Just like here, you saw a very quick move forward. We did not retest very much of that move. So now you are seeing kind of some indecision, consolidation possibly going on. And if we round away here, we could retrace these zones, fill that kind of gap we made, and then continue forward with higher highs. Remember, we're not saying if we pull back, we're breaking down. We're saying there could be a pullback for a decent DCA opportunity. VWAP does want to stay bullish, momentum is pushing up, and money flow is in the green. If that does not reverse, we may not see that opportunity as well, so keep that in mind and watch those lower time frames. Remember, they need to break bearish if we're going to see that opportunity. So over on the 1 hour, we did draw this rising channel. We said watch this rising channel. If we stay within it, we could end up breaking down. We have that kind of breakaway, a retest, and a rejection. So this could be confirmation of a breakdown. It looks like it says we bought in. I don't remember having a buy order there, but it says we bought some more Bitcoin apparently. So I would watch for a continuation to the downside. Momentum does want to break down. VWAP is favoring bearish with consistent lows and lower highs. So if that maintains, momentum will remain bearish, money flow will break down, and higher time frames will weaken, resulting in lower lows and lower highs, just like we covered on the futures. So again, if we don't make a bounce here and create a higher low and then make a higher high like our MPP says, there's only a 40% chance of that happening, then it's likely bears will start to gain some control here. So we have been warning about that for a couple days. So hopefully you've been watching and you've been listening, but just because bears are starting to gain control doesn't mean we can't see some bullish momentum. Remember, tomorrow is CPI news. We're hopefully going to get the news that rates are going to get cut, and that rate cut will likely turn into people buying, because when there's rate cuts, risky assets are more attractive because interest rates are lower, easier to borrow money, and a bunch of other various things. It may not translate right away this month, but that's mainly because tax loss harvesting, things like that, taxes going on. Once that's over, once this month's over, or toward the end of the month, we may see that strong rally like we've been saying. Our side does want to pull back, stochastic is starting to round. That VWAP is favoring bearish, so I would exercise caution. If that VWAP continues to favor bearish, momentum will continue lower and money flow will start to break away. Stochastic is rounding, bringing RSI lower, and we are breaking that 26 support level. So if we don't manage to rebound tomorrow, I would watch for a push down toward our 20-cent range like we've been warning about. Over on the 1 hour here, we do have lower highs and lower lows, so we have a bearish continuation as these lows are kind of spread away and they don't connect very well. That being said, that means if we continue seeing red candles, we retest this 26,424 and reject, then we will continue lower, kind of like that 66% probability on our MPP states we could see. So I would warn against that. If we get a lower high here and continue with lower lows, we will continue our bearish continuation, which will drop us lower, possibly toward that 20-cent area. We do have other support levels in that range. We have kind of like right around this 25,299. Then we have right around 24,857. That's just going off there. And then we have other consolidation ranges like 22,317. So remember, consolidation ranges are going to be your support ranges or resistance ranges, depending on if you're going up or down. So momentum is falling, VWAP is favoring bearish here on the 1 hour, stochastic is dropping, RSI is weakening. The 1 hour looks like we could start to favor more bearish. Money flow has been bearish for quite some time, and VWAP has been trying to struggle to hold bullish. Right now, we are seeing a little bit more bearish favor, so if that VWAP continues to see lower lows and lower highs, it's likely we would break down, weakening higher time frames. Over on Anchor for the daily, remember CPI news could invalidate all this. We could get that positive news, then people could start buying. People are kind of holding off, waiting for that news, waiting for confirmation. RSI does want to pull back. Money flow is starting to pull back. Stochastic is dropping here for Anchor for the daily, and that VWAP is favoring bearish with a lower low. So I would watch. This is continuing bearish strength, bringing momentum lower and weakening money flow. If this continues on lower time frames, it's likely we will start to test lower support areas. We are around that 49 range like we've been warning about, so I would watch for continued lower highs and lower lows. That would push us there, and if we don't hold there, our next support is that 37.67. Stochastic is starting to weaken, RSI is dropping away. Yeah, I agree, Adam. Not looking too good, but it does look good for our DCA opportunities, at least if you want to buy in. I don't think we actually have any buy orders, speaking of which, so maybe we want to consider some. We'll have to jump to our trading at the end of today and see where we want to place some trade orders. But ideally, we would place maybe something where we are now, as we did see a pretty quick move down, and maybe something in a support range. So maybe something like around this 37. We have some candle wicks in this area. Maybe we buy something right there, and then we'll kind of reevaluate later as we get on that trading portion. VWAP is favoring bearish. I would watch as that continues. Momentum will remain bearish, weakening money flow and weakening higher time frames. Our MPP does say there's a possibility of getting a lower high here or a lower low here. So that lower low, if we pair it with a lower high like the MPP says we could bounce and do, could keep us in that bearish trend to give us that push down. Remember, if there's any coins you want to see, drop them in the comments. We will cover coins, even if it's just a one-off thing, let us know. So over on XRP for the daily, we did say there was a possibility of still pushing forward, and we are still kind of sideways overall. We did try to wick out our pattern. We're going to have to see how that's playing out. VWAP is pushing forward, momentum's gaining strength, money flow is bullish, so overall we do look positive here on the daily, providing that VWAP can stay bullish. Over on the 1 hour, so we got that rejection and then a push down. We got about a third of the move. We covered that yesterday. We said to watch for continued rejection. If we got continued push up, we could continue a bullish move. We got higher highs with higher lows. That gave us that bullish move, as that is a bullish continuation because the highs and lows did not connect. Momentum is breaking down, VWAP is favoring bearish, and money flow is pulling back. So I would exercise caution. It does show we have a lower low with a lower high. So I would exercise caution because we could be seeing some bearish momentum move in here. But our MPP does say we do still have a chance to push up to that 290 and try to get our breakout. So that is still positive, but that's going to be highly dependent on us making a continuing up from here. If we feel that probability of that 230, then we likely will not see this bull flag play out. We may not see that 350 or 390 area, 388. We may not see that area if we see this rejection. So keep that in mind. That's going to be the thing that would teeter you. Just because we pull back a little bit doesn't mean that's shot, but we do need this bigger pattern to play out. So over on Algo, last but not least, before how long until Anchor? How long do you think Anchor will go in the next few days? So we'll jump on Anchor as we do our trades, because I believe that's the only coin we don't have trades on. So I want to get something on that, and we'll kind of evaluate that for you. So over on Algo, we're staying above our line that we said to watch on lower time frames. That was acting like a kind of trend line from our previous pattern. That's the only part of the pattern we left. Our MPP does say we could still continue forward. I would exercise caution though, because this is showing a little bit of indecision. This is trying to create a long upper shadow, and long upper shadows can show bulls trying to push us up, but the bear stepped in to suppress us. VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is dropping down, and money flow is pulling back. So watch those lower time frames. If they don't hold more bullishly, we could see a breakaway here. Over on Algo for the 1 hour, we do have a lower high with a lower low in this trend here. Compared to back here is higher highs with higher lows, providing we can make a strong bounce and continue forward. If we don't make that strong bounce by getting a strong green candle, making a rounding bottom here to push us to that 47.17 like MPP says, then we will likely break that support level, that kind of trend line, and then we do have that probability of about that 35. It is a lower probability, and that is depending on us not making a higher high, not making a rounding bottom. So watch the next few hours very close. That's going to tell you if we're going to make that or not. If we trade sideways here, we could make a bear flag, break down. If we get a strong green candle, followed by another strong green candle, that could be bullish confirmation to push us up to that 47 and then continue forward with higher highs and higher lows if we can create a bullish continuation from that point. VWAP is favoring bearish, so I would keep that in mind and watch that very close. So now we will hop over to the trades here. I believe that was not that key, so there we go. Hopefully our stream's still going. There we go. So we did want to talk about Anchor real quick. We don't really have many buy orders. Just to cover our orders for those of you who have not seen, we have some Bitcoin orders. So we have those couple Bitcoin orders. If we hop over to Bitcoin, those are in our support ranges. They're hard to see right now, apparently, so we'll jump over to the daily. That would be the support of the 87K and the support of that 84K. Remember, we did just move that up. It was around that 81K, just like where our futures gap is, but you don't want to go for the max pain or max gain because you may be sitting on the sideline. So we do have a pretty decent profit loss considering things, as we haven't really done very much trading in the last couple weeks. We've pretty much been holding as we stay flat. We haven't been accumulating too much. Over on graph, very similar situation. We do look like we could round away. We do look pretty positive though, so I'm not going to mess too much with that. So like I promised, back to Anchor now that we covered what we have going on. We also have, looks like another Bitcoin order. I thought we only had two. Oh, that filled. So apparently I placed a Bitcoin order and I did not notice. So apparently we averaged up. I would not recommend averaging up unless you really think your price action is going to trend very, very big. That average up, I don't know how that happened. That's why I'm not using this to connect to a real trading account, because glitches happen and I don't feel like dealing with that on my real account. I want more meticulous things, want to make sure things aren't just doing things randomly like that. But over on this Anchor here, we could end up pulling away. So if we break that 40.49, we'll kind of move this order window down. So if we break that 40.49, we do have that 37.67 support level. That 37.67 doesn't look very strong in previous price history. We did tear up very quick, but I would say between our 34.85 and our 30.65, we did see some retracements. That's very positive because those retracements help solidify that as a strong support resistance area. That being said, I think it would be hard to break below that 34.85. Not impossible, but I think it would take quite a bit to break that level. So right now, I'm eyeballing mainly that 40.49. If we break that, then buying somewhere just below that where we have that buy order. And maybe if we do break that 37.67, we buy somewhere where these candle wicks are. So we have some candle wicks here. That may be a decent area, may not. I would go on more strong candle bodies, more wicks. So we have a couple wicks here. So again, wicks, that's very hard. Maybe price would just stop just below that or just above it, like we saw in XRP, where we had that $2 order and they were trying to manipulate us. So maybe you want to move this up just below that support level. I would not recommend being below support level. Being close to support levels does leave you open to not filling. But again, there is a chance we do break that. We did buy some back here. Let's see how much we have, just so we can kind of calculate if we really want a lot more in this higher range or this lower range. So over on Anchor, we have 600. That's a pretty decent amount considering our position sizes and everything else. So I'm not going to go too aggressive in our buy-ins, but those would be good areas to buy in at. No problem, Adam. Thank you for watching. Thank you all for watching. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, join us in the Discord.